Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I'm going to do a sit down video, finally, of the one thing I kept saying I was going to talk about in like every single vlog, and it is exclusively pumping. I'm really excited to put this video out here because I know tons of moms before I even had Sedona were asking me questions about exclusively pumping, and also anytime I've met a mom out in, from the Peanut app or just randomly, and I start talking about how I'm an exclusive pumper, they always have tons of questions. And I have friends who might have kids soon, fingers crossed, and they have asked me why I'm choosing it and everything. So this is going to be called Exclusively Pumping 101. I'm going to break it down for you. Every single fact that you want to know about exclusively pumping, I'm going to say it. And I just want to start off by saying I have no problems with nursing normally, naturally. I don't care. I think that's great. I think it's a beautiful thing. And I have no issues with formula. I don't think that you have to breastfeed. I mean, I don't care. Like, it's your baby. It's not mine. I'm not raising your baby for you. I'm just trying to be here to give you tips and hints on ways to make it a little bit easier if you do go this route. So let's get on to it. Alright, so the first thing I want to talk about is the Spectra S2 Pump. So this pump is a hospital grade pump that I received from my health insurance. And just to add, every single thing I'm talking about is going to be linked down below. I used a website called EdgePark for this pump to get sent to me through my health insurance. I saw them on Facebook, some random ad, and I filled it in and it worked in literally 2 weeks. I got my pump. I don't think it will do that for everybody. I think it does depend on your health insurance personally, but it's nice to know that that exists and it worked, and so now you don't have to fear finding one that doesn't work. I tried using a company, I believe it was called Airflow, and they never sent me anything. They didn't send me a pump. They didn't even respond. So I was like, I don't know if I did something wrong, because I swear I read like every single Facebook comment and people were like talking about how much they love their pump and thanking them, blah blah blah, whatever. So I'll link them down below. But my Spectra S2 pump is so great, so fabulous. I know that Medela is very popular as well, but this one I read had better reviews and people were just really obsessed with it. People that had Medela actually switched to it for their next child or whatever it might have been, and I was convinced that this was the one. The only complaint I will say about this pump is that I had to bring some kind of like outlet device for my car to actually use it out in the go, which is kind of annoying, but it worked. I mean, it's just me being lazy, I guess, and crazy, so it's not that big of a deal. But anyways, so it's super easy to use. I can always do a separate video of introducing how to use each part of the pump, but it is, what I do is I keep the pump on a medium setting. Like, I usually go to 4 and then I get up to like the faster flow, which would be like the letdown. I go to a level 5, so that one is like the more intense, feeling pump. But I know that if you do like all the way up to number 12, I think it goes to, it can like really damage your nipples. Some people can do it, but I know that I was too worried, and I'm still too worried about doing some damage to these little guys down here because I need them, and I think that will mess with your milk flow. So that leads me into the next thing I want to talk about, Kiara Cordless Pump. I found this on Amazon for a trip and I'm obsessed, and it has made being an exclusive pumper way easier for myself. Like, it's been great. So I can just sit there and pump. I can pump while driving. It's safe because it's hands-free, by the way. So you can pump while driving, save time. You can pump while you're on a road trip. You can pump in a parking lot. You can pump in someone else's house easier. You can pump in your own house easier. I've walked around, I've done dishes while pumping, so it doesn't stop me from living. And so now I'm glad that I have that. And then for my Spectra pump, what I have is a cart that's stacked up that has like 3 levels. So on the first level I have my pump. On my second level I have any things I'm going to use to fill the milk with, so that way it's just right there and I can just go put it in the freezer or fridge, whatever I'm doing at that time. And then the bottom one is literally so freaking random. I found chapstick in there. I found random socks. I mean, whatever. It's kind of like my nightstand too. And I like it because I can set a drink on there, because this will bring me to what I'm going to talk about later, which is things to drink and eat to stay very, very full. So now to get to the next tool, because the first thing I wanted to do was just kind of go over the tools you're going to need for exclusively pumping successfully. I'm going to talk about the Haka, because even though you're not dripping from, you're not catching milk basically from like nursing, that's usually what people use a Haka for, is for when you're dripping. You can have it dripping into the Haka and then it catches it and you're not wasting any milk, and it's freaking awesome that that exists also. But I actually got one because someone told me to catch my milk while I was pregnant because I was leaking, and I didn't really successfully do that because I was like, okay, like when am I supposed to do that? So I was very confused and I didn't end up using it, but I used it a lot when I had clogged ducts. So that's whenever you have a clogged duct in your breast, and it's whenever the milk basically, it's like stuck somewhere in there. I don't know the technical thing that's happening. I just know that it freaking hurts bad. And I mean, like, it really hurts. So I attached the Haka to one of my boobs in the shower, and then I attached the manual pump, the cheapest manual pump that you can get at Walmart. It was $24.99, and I will pump manually to get a clogged duct out, and then I'll actually be dripping. So that's why I use the Haka, so I don't waste any milk, because as an exclusive pumper or a nursing mom, you know milk is gold and you do not want to lose any of that stuff. I mean, like, it's free technically, but it's a lot of time. Then the next thing I'm going to say is, where are you going to store your milk? What are you going to put it in? I put mine in mason jars. And the reason why I do this is because it is better for the environment, and I think it's better knowing that I'm saving money. I can literally fill up the mason jar and then I can put it in the freezer. I bought these little labels that are so cool. They are basically like a little whiteboard, whatever they're called, and dry erase board, that's what they're called. They're a dry erase board, and you just, they're not a dry erase board, they're dry erase stickers. It's a big roll that looks like duct tape, and you just like cut it, put it on the lid, and then you just use a wipeable marker, and then you fill the date on it, and then you stick it in the freezer. You can put however many ounces are on it, in case, you know, you didn't like go all the way up to the 4-ounce jar rim or the 8-ounce jar rim. Or you can use the little plastic baggies that comes with your pump brand, or that you can just get for super cheap on Amazon or Target or wherever. I just think for the environment, there's no point in putting that plastic out there whenever you can use something that's reusable. And the perk and the plus side is, now that my daughter is getting into puree foods, I can actually use all those mason jars that I've emptied out and haven't been able to refill because I decided to slow down on pumping. And instead of reusing them for more breast milk, I'm using them for her frozen foods. And I think that's so great. But definitely a tip I'll give you, do not use the lids that come on the mason jars. Order these plastic lids, because once you stick them in the freezer and then wash them and freeze them and wash them, it will start to get rusty, and then it falls into your milk. Then you just like waste it. I actually had to throw a whole batch of milk away because of that. So do not do what I did. Learn from my mistakes, because that was a really depressing mistake. I'm 98% sure I shed some tears because that was really hard, and I don't want to do that for you guys. I don't want you guys to do that. So those are going to be your main essential tools, and then your next thing is a little bit more personal, I could say. Not everybody necessarily needs it. So invest in some great breast pads. If you don't know what breast pads to get, I just did a review on a set of breast pads, not just a whole set, a whole case of them, and I will link that video down below so you can see that. It is just great to know that you can actually trust this brand of breast pads. But then you can also do the reusable, and I know that this brand sells them. I've actually never tried the reusable with them, and I didn't know that they had them, otherwise I would have tried that. I actually used some random brand that I got off Amazon, and they didn't really work very well for me while I was super engorged. So it's sad to say, because I didn't want to use any disposable breast pads, but I felt like I had no option. So I would definitely look into different brands. I would try the reusables first. I don't know if it was like my boob size, or maybe I just have like freakishly huge nipples and a lot of milk squirting everywhere, but it just wasn't working for me. And another thing is, they do sell little milk catcher cups that you can like not attach, but you can hook to your bra. you can't attach them, but you can like set them in your bra, and those are great for, I've used them when I'm sleeping in between the pumps, so that way it just fills up in the middle of the night and I'm not doing anything. I've used them whenever I've actually gone out in public wearing them, knowing that I'm like in between a pump and I might be a little bit late and I don't want to leak anywhere, but if I do, I want to catch it. It looks a little funky, so I just would like suggest wearing something baggy or like wear a little jacket or something. My husband made fun of me whenever we went to the flea market with them in because it just made me look like I had like square boobs, but I was like, you know what, I just don't care because I need these to do what they need to do, and I need to save that because I work hard for what I'm doing. And then the next thing I would say is try to, I would recommend getting either a heat pad or something that you can like microwave and stick on you to like warm yourself up. Of course, you could always just do like a warm washcloth even, and that's just because it helps with your milk flow, which we'll get more into, and also it'll help you with if you do get a clogged duct or if you get that M word. I don't want to say it because I don't know if I'm gonna say it right, and it's this like thing that women get whenever their boobs it's like an infection in your body basically. It's like swollen clogged ducts and stuff, and you get a fever, and I don't even, it's like metastasis or mastitis. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Anyways, so you're gonna need some type of like heat product, and also if you're gonna like power pump, which I'm gonna get into that also, then you're gonna want something for in between your pumps, not just massaging your boobs. You're gonna want something else to help you get your boobies all ready to pop. All right, so now I'm going to go into my schedule or my routine. So as an exclusive pumper, you're very confused. You go in the hospital, you're in labor, you're about to have your baby, and then they ask you, are you going to breastfeed? The first thing they want to do is stick the baby on your nipple. But I was like, wait, stop, I'm not breastfeeding. So I was heartbroken to find out that your baby actually eats basically right after he or she is born. You do chest to chest normally, and then basically within a few minutes of them checking everything with your baby is okay and everything is good, then they're like, hey, do you want to feed him or do you want to feed her? And so I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not gonna be able to like pump any breast milk. So I was like super sad because I guess I was just oblivious to what it was gonna be like. And so I had to give him or her formula. It's not the end of the world. Obviously she is okay. It's not a big deal. And I was like, okay, so now what do I do? And the reason why I was so confused is because like nobody would help me plan out how to exclusively pump. Like nobody understood what I was trying to do. So my nurse finally was like, if you're planning on exclusively pumping, usually new moms are nursing like every 2 hours after labor and delivery basically. So she was like, you need to get your pump out or borrow a hospital pump. They usually have them there also, and you need to start pumping every 2 hours, and that'll help bring your milk in, because that's exactly what happens for a nursing mom. And I know even if you're not nursing, your milk still does come in at some point and then it dries out, whatever. So I pulled my pump out, had it ready, set up, and I was nursing or pumping every single 2 hours. I was not breaking the 2-hour routine, and I was doing it for 15 minutes every single time at first. They recommended 15 minutes. I'm not really sure if it's because your baby in the beginning is only eating for about 15 minutes, because I always thought that they'd be eating longer because they're learning how to suck and stuff, and I can't really remember how long she was eating for. I feel like sometimes it was like 30 minutes to finish her little bottle. So I remember they were like, as you're getting out little bits of colostrum, anytime you can, put it in with the formula, or just put it on if you're giving them like a passy or a binky, and go ahead and give that to them any way that you can. They also can give you the option to like put it in a syringe, and you can like give it to your baby orally like you would medicine basically. So it's up to you how you want to do it. But don't let that discourage you. Don't freak out if you have to supplement in the beginning. And just know that it is a lot of work at first because you're pumping every 2 hours. Then after about, I would say like 2 weeks, I switched into every 3 hours because my milk was fully in and my body was adjusting. And honestly, Sedona, my daughter, wasn't really on like an exact schedule, I would say. So she was like pretty much every 3 hours, but sometimes she'd go a little shorter, sometimes she'd go a little longer. And then about at 2.5 months, I started doing every 4 hours. So there is a rainbow at the end, or what's the saying? There is gold at the end of the tunnel? No. There's gold at the end of the rainbow. That's the saying. So, you're able to slowly stop pumping so often. You don't have to wake up all the time in the middle of the night. It does suck, but you're waking up anyway. So my suggestion is, if you have a partner, to ask them if they'll help out with doing the feeding while you're pumping. Otherwise, you're going to have to wake yourself up before the baby to kind of get a system. I thought it worked great that my husband was doing the feedings while I was doing the pumping, and then, you know, I would get up and change her diaper or whatever. That way it wasn't like all on him. And I think it was really fair. I felt like he agreed to that really easily because it was bonding moments for him that he didn't get to have because he works during the day. And so any of your partners that are busy, that work a lot, or you know, someone that's helping you, your support system, talk to them and tell them, look, I'm trying to do this. This is only going to be for a few months that I'm going to have to wake up in the middle of the night all the time to pump. And I really need someone to help with the actual baby while I'm pumping. Once the baby's older, like now, she is 6 months in a couple of days, and so now that she's eating some solids and she's eating bigger bottles all at once, I'm pumping now it's about every 5 hours during the day, and then I'm only pumping once before bed and then once when I wake up. So I'm actually not waking up at all. So within half a year, not even, because I think I started this schedule at 5 months, you don't have to do it in the middle of the night. Your body will adjust to whatever your baby needs. And the other thing that I want to say is, if you ever did need to get your milk flow back, like if you're like, wow, my freezer stash sucked, I never got any in the beginning, and you decide that this isn't going to work for you, you're going to have to stop pumping in the middle of the night, you can do some power pumping sessions to get your milk flow back, to get your milk back stronger and fuller. Power pumping is whenever you pump, basically you have a full hour of pumping, but in between each pump, so it's just like a pattern, and in between the pumps I would literally be massaging my boobs, and I'd be putting like hot rags or a heating pad on them, anything I could do to get the breast milk right there ready to come out. And it was great because I would, like, the next day I'd wake up and I'd have so much milk going on in my system. So it was definitely worth doing some power pumps every once in a while if you need to. Another tip that I'll say is, if you do start to get sore nipples, because sometimes pumping can hurt, check the sizes of your flanges, because sometimes you just don't have the correct size, which can also interfere with your milk production. And then the next thing I'll say is, my tip is to actually put a little bit of coconut oil right where like your nipple would go in the flange, because it actually pulls really funny and hard. It looks so ugly. Like every time I look down, I'm like, wow, my nipples just look erect in this thing. Like I don't want anyone to see me pumping because of how weird it looks, but I mean, it is what it is. So I would say definitely put some coconut oil there, and that way whenever you're pumping, your boobs have some like lubricant to, or your nipples have like lubricant to help get stuff flowing, and it's not anything bad for your baby. It's organic, so if, you know, a little bit gets in the milk, it's not going to hurt anything. So that's something that I would recommend as well. There's an app called Baby Tracker. It's like a newborn log, and I recommend that also. I use that so much to keep track of diaper changes, but it was also to keep track of how often I've been pumping and how much I get, because I wanted to know what my stash was going to be like, and if I needed to know how much for like plans, you know, like if you're planning a weekend away and you need to know how much milk to bring with you because you might not pump enough or whatever it might be. It's just very useful, I promise that. I don't use it anymore because we are so good. We are like professionals. I'm just kidding. We're just like not needing to track anything at this point. Sometimes I think about tracking the feeds, because sometimes I swear when she's like in a growth spurt that she's just eating nonstop, and I'm like, okay, I need to see, just for my own curiosity, how much she's actually eating. But it's not that important. I don't need to do that because she's gaining weight fine. Your doctor will help you, or your child's doctor will help you with, you know, what you should track and stuff also. So just for your own sanity, I would, and like for your own health, I would track at least what you're pumping. Now getting into how to produce the most and the best amount of milk that you possibly can think of. The number one thing I started with is eating these milk lactation cookies, and I'll link them below. They are like chocolate chip and oatmeal, and they're freaking delicious. My friend, shout out to Michaela, gave me them in the hospital, and they were so good. I love them so much. I thought they tasted amazing. So that was great because you do crave a lot of things while you're pumping. I think it's actually worse than when I was pregnant, my cravings. And so whenever I was able to like eat those cookies, I was like, oh, I'm doing something good for my milk, but I'm also eating sugar. So that was nice. And water. I drink a huge bottle of water. It's actually the Venti to go cup from Starbucks that I drink every day, but I drink one full one with every single meal, which is usually at least 3 meals a day, and then I drink it in between. So I don't even know at this point how much water I'm drinking, but I would recommend drinking as much water as your body can handle, because the best thing is staying hydrated to keep your milk going and full. The other thing is there's other options like drinking a Propel or a Body Armor or something with electrolytes in it if you're not a huge water drinker, or buy a water bottle that has a little section for fruit to go. I have one of those, and I like that every once in a while if I want lemon water or, you know, whatever fruit you can think to put in there. I think you can do oranges and strawberries, whatever. But you want to try and drink as much water as you can and just stay super hydrated. And I try to lay off caffeine. I try to lay off anything that would be not best, like anything that you didn't want to drink while you're pregnant. I try not to drink while I'm pumping. Of course you can have some alcoholic beverages and stuff. You just have to like watch what you're taking in, obviously. Same with caffeine. You can have a certain amount every day, and now that she's getting bigger and I guess she's eating some salts, I feel like the caffeine's not affecting her, so I've tested it out. I'm still trying not to drink as much, but I have had like one drink here and there because I'm a sucker for chai and it's fall. As far as protein, I would say stick to the most protein you can, so eating almonds and egg. And I've been eating red meat, and I hate red meat, but I've been eating it for my protein intake. I feel like it's been helping because I did go back to eating vegetarian, which I wasn't while pregnant, but then I went back to it while pumping, and not only did the lentils I was eating like nonstop give her so much bad gas, but then I had to deal with the fact that my milk was disappearing. Like it was going somewhere, and I don't know why, and I don't really understand what was happening, but apparently there was something in the red meat that I like really needed for my body. So I just went back to eating it, and then as soon as we're done with breast milk, I'm done with that. I'm not eating it anymore. So I'm actually super excited and looking forward to that. So just do your research, talk to your midwife, of course, they'll help you, I'm sure. My midwife was so cool about me being vegetarian at one point, and then I was like, never mind, this isn't working. The other thing is continue to take your prenatals. Just because you're not pregnant doesn't mean you don't need them. It is good for you because you're giving still a lot of your nutrition to your baby, and so you need to like put that back in your system. Another thing that I'll talk about for milk production is going to be the Earth Mama tea is really good, and then there's the Pink Stork tea, and then there's some other brand that I don't even remember, but I got it at Target for like $4. I do recommend drinking them. I feel like it's just something, it's like I don't know if the stuff that's inside the tea is actually what's helping me produce, but I can tell you that it is nice to take a break from drinking water but not having a soda. So it's something that I know is like benefiting me and my milk producing, like it's helping me produce milk supposedly, but it's also not water, and I guess that's why I would recommend having those on hand. They do make pills with that. It's like, here we go again with a word I can't pronounce. Is it fenugreek?
Fenugreek.
Fenugreek. So that herb is in a lot of pills and snacks and drinks for moms who are nursing. So I guess you could try that. I've heard bad and good things. And the bad part is I've heard that it's actually taken away people's milk production, and then the good thing is I've heard it's helped. So just be careful. If you start to see that your milk is getting like less and less from it, then stop. Don't take it. Also, don't overdo it. Like I bought all these body armors, and I was buying so many extra things for producing better milk, so you know, so having more supply, that I ended up spending pretty much just as much on that than I would have formula. a week, and I was like, okay, I need to like stop and look at what I'm doing. I don't need these oatmeal cookies. I don't need these body armor drinks. I just need to drink water and eat regular food and high, you know, good high calorie veggies and potatoes and stuff, and you know, I'll be fine. And that was like my normal pregnant diet anyways, basically. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna stop wasting money on all these fun, exciting things that I can't, you know, you're just excited and it's new and you think you need like the most and the best. You get addicted to it. You're like, I'm gonna keep collecting that milk. Well, of course, the other thing that we can go into is just keeping your breast milk. So I always was told to go by the 6s. So it was 6 months in the freezer, 6 days in the fridge, and 6 hours room temperature. Obviously, people have other opinions, but basically what I was told is for 6 hours, your milk would be fine room temperature. I just think that's kind of weird, so I've never gone past 4. That's the most. It's never made her sick, if that makes you feel more comfortable. So I've gone up to 4 hours room temp, but usually everything ends up in the fridge, and she drinks everything cold now anyways. And then I did 6 days in the fridge, and then 6 months in the freezer. So it's basically good to just track every single thing you're doing. The other thing is, if you put it in the freezer and then you defrost it, you have to use that milk within 24 hours. So only defrost what you know you're going to use in 24 hours. So basically, if you're gonna defrost a handful of milk because it's coming up to the 6 months, or just because you thought that you weren't gonna have enough because you're going out of town and your husband's watching the baby or whatever, but you're still pumping, then prepare that milk to be stored in the freezer, so you're not like, okay, I'm gonna fill up another bottle, and then you're like, you just waste milk, because then you either have it out for longer and you get confused which one was the older milk that you just put in the fridge. I think you get what I'm saying. So remember, 6 months in the freezer. When you pull the freezer milk out into the fridge, you have 24 hours to use it. But there are, like I said, tons of different rules. People will always say something different with how long to store. I mean, I haven't had any issues. My baby is, like I said, about to be 6 months, and we haven't had any stomach problems or whatever as far as that goes. So I think the rule that I'm going by is pretty fair. Now I'm going to tell you what bras you need to buy. So let's go into that. You have the option to use a regular sports bra and then just like pull the put the flange in and just like flip it over it so it can hold it. Or, you know, you might have to like hold your hands over there to support it. I think it's annoying. I've been trying to do that because I hate these pumping bras some days. I don't know if it's just because I have to wear them all the time, but I just found that annoying. Then there was the other pumping bra that I bought that's just this like band that you velcro around and then you stick it in. So I was like, well, this is cool because then I can wear whatever bra I want. Just pop that bra over that thing over it and pop that bra down. Well, that was great, but I was pumping so often in the beginning that it was exhausting. Every little thing counts, especially in the middle of the night, and putting that thing on me in the middle of the night was just exhausting. I just wanted to be able to like stick them in there and pump, but I didn't want to have to like hold them the whole time. So then I ended up going and buying a bunch of pumping bras which have little holes in them already put in, and you just stick your pump in there around, and the flanges hook in, and it's perfect. It's great. It works fantastic. And I mean, it's like the best support. This one that I'm wearing right now is my favorite one. I've bought in 3 different brands and I like them all, but this one makes me feel like it's the most secure. I think that it would really depend on your breast size, honestly, for which kind work for you, and your flange size, because I feel like it's just probably different per person. Then there's the other option where you can get like super cheap sports bras from somewhere like Walmart, or I mean maybe even like a Dollar General or something, and you can just cut a little hole in like where your nipple would be, so like line it up, mark it, and then you can actually stick the flange on your nipple and then stick the base, you'll see like what I'm talking about, through the hole, and then connect the pump to it that way. So I mean, you have that option also if you don't want to spend the money on the bras. I thought that was a really cool option. It's just I didn't feel like it was tight enough, and then I ended up buying these really cheap sports bras from Walmart and like really liking the sports bra, and I was like, I don't want to cut a bunch of holes in these, because then whenever you go out you have to wear breast pads or nursing pads in your bra, otherwise your nipples are out and you can see like the shape of the circle and whatever. But either way, nursing bras don't even make your boobs look the most flattering. or pumping bras, I should say, because of the like little crease. So I guess it doesn't really matter. It's kind of a lose-lose. So I'm just gonna go by what works the best for me. But anyways, I hope you guys took notes. I'm going to try to recap everything I can in the description for you, and I'm going to do a list of every single product I'm talking about. I really enjoyed doing this video with you guys. A little sit down is always nice to have. I hope that I'm helping somebody out with pumping exclusively. I don't think there's enough support out there with pumping exclusively. There's a lot of judgmental moms that don't understand why you're choosing to do that. And we all have our own personal reasons for why we do what we do when it comes to feeding our baby or doing anything in life in general. So I would definitely say ignore them. Don't listen to those kind of moms, and don't be their friend. Just ignore them. Like, don't worry and don't put up with that. And I also will say don't give up. It's so crazy and it seems exhausting in the beginning, but you can pull through. I've done it now, like I said, for almost 6 months, and I am looking forward to the 12-month mark, but at the same time, I feel like I'm doing something so good for my baby, and I feel like I'm doing something great for the environment by not putting extra plastic containers out there of formula, and that to me is important just as much as, you know, the breast milk I'm giving to my daughter. But you do you do whatever works for you, and I hope that I was able to help. So if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, like specific questions about exclusively pumping, comment down below any questions, or you can find me at the Jen Rhodes on Instagram. You can write me a DM. I usually check them every couple days to make sure I'm responding to everybody. And just don't forget to subscribe and share this video if you know anyone out there who's considering their options for what to do with feeding their baby and they think about exclusively pumping. Bye guys.